Good evening. Call to order this meeting of the Urban Renewal Authority, 5 p.m. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Dennehy?
Here.
Commissioner Grantham?
Here.
Commissioner Hamrick?
Here.
Sorry, Vice Chairman Hamrick. Commissioner Reeser?
Here.
Commissioner Schmischer?
Here.
Commissioner A. Smith is absent. Commissioner B. Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Stein?
Here.
Commissioner Tracy?
Here.
Commissioner Worthington?
Here.
And Chairman Payne.
Here. I ask you to join me to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. We'll move on to citizens requesting to speak to the Urban Renewal Authority. I see nobody present. Move on to the consent agenda. Item A is approval of minutes of the October 5th, 22 meeting. And then, we do these together, don't we,
Yes, sir.
normally? And
Mr. Chair, move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
okay. It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Dennehy?
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham?
Aye.
Vice Chairman Hamrick?
Aye.
Commissioner Reeser?
Aye.
Commissioner Schmischer?
Aye.
Commissioner B. Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Stein?
Aye.
Commissioner Tracy?
Aye.
Commissioner Worthington?
Aye.
Chairman Payne.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Next, we'll move on to the financial report.
So the beginning and ending balance in October was $539,641.74. There was no activity. So far in November, there's been a $42.66 expenditure to Prairie Mountain Media. I believe that's the daily record regarding a public notice. So the ending, well, it won't be the ending likely, but the balance as of this evening is $539,599.08.
Okay, thank you for that report. I know it's 30 days in between. We don't
No-
vote on this, right?
no motion.
Yeah, okay. And besides that, I go to too many meetings still. Okay, go to the executive director report.
All right, thank you, Chairman, members of the commission. We don't currently have any new applications for Urban Renewal Authority. I do have some updates on various projects. We've received our second check request for the Holiday Inn Express, so we'll be verifying their sales tax increments and submitting that check request. The Pharisee Ford dealership project, they're seeking their temporary certificate of occupancy. Probably end of November, early December, they'll be applying for that TCO with some additional work to finish up the completion of that project. They've got some demo work that they need to do for the building that they're moving out of. So they're playing musical buildings right now. So that will be coming soon. The Hotel St. Cloud, they are working very diligently to try and get their phase one of their project done. Phase one, for their tax credit purposes, they need a TCO by, I believe, December 15th. So they have a lot of work to do in the next month. So they're working very diligently on that. Having some meetings with them about improvements that they want to make in the right-of-way to address ADA accessibility. So lots of stuff happening as far as the Hotel St. Cloud goes. And then I think the biggest update that we have that came in today was the application for the Abbey and their subdivision. So we're checking all the documents that we received to make sure that we have a full application. But that's, assuming that we do, those will go out for referral, and we'll be scheduling that for Planning Commission. Rick, do you have any updates?
I do not. No, that was pretty thorough.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
I just have one.
Okay.
I know at one point you'd mentioned the fire district was looking at utilizing URA. Where are we, what's the status on that?
Yeah, we need to update that. I think we're waiting to hear back from a couple of taxing entities regarding that, so there's some follow-up work that needs to be done there.
Awesome.
And that's the addition of the 2 outlots that they created in front of the new fire station.
Okay,
And
anybody else have anything?
The purpose of that was just to
Sorry.
entice buyers?
Correct, yes. So that property was annexed into the city, and it was annexed after the urban renewal boundary was set.
That's
So
right.
this would be a minor amendment, asking the other taxing entities to accept this as a minor amendment to the plan to include them into the
So it's not
boundary.
actually a project as much as it is just,
Correct.
thank you.
Okay, anybody else have anything? Commissioner Schmichner, no? Okay. All right, next on the agenda is the Seek Care 2023 budget. Go ahead and go into that.
Yes, sir. This is a public hearing, so you'll need to open the public hearing.
We'll go ahead and open the public hearing at 5:07 by my watch.
Yes, sir. So the Seek-Care budget was emailed out to the commission by the October 15th deadline. So you've had it for a few weeks. We are looking at revenues of around just over $333,000 for the 2023 budget year. And we've got expenditures of $435,450, so there is a bit of a delta there. That will come from reserves. You may remember when we set up the Urban Renewal Authority, we did borrow money from the city to get the funds started, and some of that deficit is to try and get some of these projects going. The significant expenses that you will see in the budget are the life safety grant at $75,000, the facade improvement grant for $52,500, the new business systems grant that Rick is still working on developing. We have that budgeted at $75,000 because we do expect that to be big ticket items. And then $100,000 we have set aside for the rebates for the projects that we already have in place. We don't know exactly how those numbers will come in depending on when some of these projects finish. But we also need to pay any share back in regards to property taxes that we get next year back to the taxing entities, and I think that that is accounted for in other fees and charges. But under urban renewal projects, we are expecting we'll have a full year of the Holiday Inn Express that we'll have to do reimbursement on, sales tax reimbursement for Pharisee Ford and their service station, and the Hotel St. Cloud does expect to have their bar open after phase 1, so there will be sales tax increment reimbursement for that as well.
So we're estimating the fund balance at the end of 2022 to be $596,945, is that correct, on this first sheet? And that's our reserves that we're going to dip into the 101,000?
Yeah, I've got a
Is that right?
fund balance at the end of '23 of,
Oh, 837.
that's the beginning balance. The ending balance would be 735,077.
Okay, all right. Okay. Any questions for the director? Go ahead. Commissioner Reeser.
Yeah, help me understand. So the ending fund balance for 2021 was the 596,945, and we're estimating it to be the same? No, wait, so we've got that, and then it was the beginning fund balance for, I don't understand the difference between the 2022 budget column and the 2022 estimate column. Because this, why is it the beginning fund balance for 2022, 248,474? Because this should be this. I don't understand what that is.
Because it would be this number from 2020 that doesn't show up on this,
Why not?
because it doesn't have a 2020 actual, which would be the end balance for that year.
Right, but this should be the.
So it's through the tax
In 2021, it should be the begin, so what's this?
Because these projects will
That's
start
what I'm saying.
generating revenue
This
from tax.
is the year-to-date. Is that correct? The 2022 budget column would be,
So the fund
or
balance,
that's just what was budgeted, but the actual estimate for the end of this year is the third column?
so the 2022 beginning of year, 248,474, that's what I don't understand where that comes from.
Yeah, so that was what was in the budget that we put last year for 2022. The actual for the beginning year would be that 596,945, because that's where we
Okay.
ended
That's
2021.
where this.
Well, right, but to me, this should be here.
So
I see what you're saying.
the numbers that you see for 2022 is the budget that we published.
Okay.
Okay, John?
Sure, I've got a couple questions. So, on the, under expenditures by functions, we have grants and contribution, and that's from our perspective as the URA. So in other words, we're a granting agency. And what's the difference between a grant and a contribution?
So the grants are money that we're giving out that are not necessarily tied to activities that are being generated by an undertaking of property enhancement.
Like life safety?
Yes, so life safety grant, it's not necessarily somebody that's bringing, we're not entering into a reimbursement agreement with them.
Yes.
So the contributions are the projects where we've entered into reimbursement agreements, and we have we have agreed to contribute money back to that project based off of the increment that they're generating.
Based on the shared TIF?
Correct.
Yeah. And then so in 2023, our budget shows that we're going to be borrowing some money. Who are we borrowing that from, and how come?
The debt service?
Yes, and if you go back on the detail page, it shows that we're borrowing 55,300, and then the total amount owed in 2023 is going to include 4,400 interest.
So
for a total-
that goes back to my earlier statement. When we set up the urban renewal, we borrowed money from the city. So this is the debt service.
To the city.
Starting to pay that money back to the city.
Yes, okay.
So in the agreement to borrow the money, there was a 2-year window where we were not making payments. So the ending of that 2-year period starts next year, and that is the first payment back to the city to reimburse for the money that was borrowed.
No money down and no payments for 2 years.
It bought you a sewer line.
What a deal. Okay, do you have anything else, John?
No.
Okay, Emily?
Thanks. Just, I wondered on the expenditure detail, Ryan, if you could just say a little bit more about the purchase services, the professional services, how that breaks out. What does that look like?
Yeah, professional services, we have money in there for legal services. Anything that the attorneys are doing, we have them on an hourly basis, so that's part of the reason why they're not at the meeting, because we only have them at the meetings where we actually need the legal advice. And then we also have money budgeted in there for, in the event that we need to do a sales tax TIF analysis on a project or an incoming project. So we would contract with a firm to help with that analysis.
So is the administrative work also a part of that line item? Or how does that work?
Are you talking about our time
Yeah.
as staff?
Yeah.
That falls under the other fees and charges.
Okay. Anything else?
I missed, oh, other fees and charges.
Other
Thank
fees
you.
and charges, yes.
Got it.
Okay. Commissioner Schmisser. You're up. Amy? Oh, is she frozen?
I think she's frozen.
Okay,
Thank you, Chairman Payne.
there
Now
you
we
go.
can.
Oh, we get
Thank
the
you,
glamour
Chairman
shot.
We can hear you, Amy.
Yeah, go ahead, Amy.
Wonderful. Could you share a bit about how you came to the numbers for the grant programs and how many grants that you envision those funding? Thank you.
Rick, do you want to take that one?
Sure, the facade grant, we came up with, had a meeting with, invited about 20-plus property and business owners, and had a few show up, and threw out there the number of $75,000. Conversations with other business owners kind of came up with that number, and we envisioned about 7 of them. And that could be one building has 2 facades, so one building might get $15,000 of grant if they have 2 addresses and 2 businesses in them. The life safety grant, we had 1 this year. We don't have any requests for more right now. So we just anticipate that life safety grants, the last one was $50,000. They weren't all $50,000. So we'll just manage the grant up to that $75,000 limit, budget limit that we have.
Anything else, Amy?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Grantham?
So on those 3, are those all showing as maxed, the 75, 52.5, and 75?
Yes.
According to the max limits we put on it just
Right.
a few months ago?
Yeah, so that would, well, yeah, that would be what's budgeted. So the grants are on a first-come, first-served basis. When we run out of funds, we are out of funds.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else?
Sure,
John?
one more question. So we have, this is November 2022, and we have estimates for our budget. Do we have an idea when we will have actuals on revenues
For 22,
for starting whenever?
I can check with our finance director to see, revenues should be fairly set after the sales tax payment was made. So I will double check with our finance director, and I can get back to you on that.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Any questions? So going back to our depth service, it was $500,000, and are we going to look at trying to do somewhere around $55,000 a year to pay that back? Is that, or is it going to depend on revenues year by year?
I think we did straight line
We did straight line, yeah.
over the next
Is
2
it-
years.
Okay. All right, thank you.
On the, if I may,
Okay.
on the revenue on the property tax increment, 33,000 estimate, is that an estimate from the assessor or?
That is an estimate from the assessor based off of their property tax. They had a line for urban renewal or TIF districts, and that was, it was, we rounded up or rounded down, I don't remember which, but that's the rough estimate.
Okay.
Okay, anybody have anything else? Any other questions or comments?
Sure,
John?
one more question. On our debt service, we have an agreement with the city to repay the $500,000 essentially seed money. If the authority ran into issues with revenues, is it possible to renegotiate that with the city?
It is.
Okay,
Of course, that would go before city council, so.
well, they're pretty shady. Anybody else have anything? Okay, at 5:21, I will close the public hearing. And I will call for a motion.
And Chairman Payne, if I may interject.
Okay.
The motion can include the approval of Resolution 2, as that is the next item, and that is what we are approving here is for the
Okay.
budget.
It'd be approval for resolution number 2, a resolution to adopt the 2023 budget for the Canyon City area for reinvestment expansion and to make appropriations for the same. That's the title of the resolution. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to accept the 2023 budget and to approve Resolution 2, Series of 2022.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I'm sorry, the second was Commissioner Tracy, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Correct.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Dennehy?
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham?
Aye.
Is that an aye or a nay?
That was an aye.
Commissioner, Vice Chairman Hammer?
Aye.
Commissioner Reeser?
Aye.
Commissioner Schmisher?
Aye.
Commissioner B. Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Stein?
Aye.
Commissioner Tracy?
Aye.
Commissioner Worthington?
Aye.
And Chairman Payne.
Aye?
Motion carries.
I mean, unless you're trying to convince me one way or the other.
Okay, next thing on the agenda is discussion, or no, just ask the executive director to speak. That's what gets me is this agenda and this agenda are different.
Yeah, Cindy wasn't feeling too well together when she put together the talking points, so she may have
I
duplicated
think
some
she
of.
added something there,
some of
yeah. Have too much instead of not enough.
I do have one more comment for the
Okay.
commission. Cindy sent out an email regarding Downtown Colorado Inc. Hosting their annual conference in April. It's the In the Game conference. That conference does have some very good sessions for urban renewal. And city council, we've got, we have spots for city council on there, but for our 3 districts that are part of the commission, we do want to extend that invitation to you as well. If that's something that you're interested in, please take a look at the agenda and the email and let us know if that's, if we should be booking something for you.
Okay? Anything else for anybody? Okay, with no further business coming before this board, we are adjourned.